All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to our next episode of Zero Sum Game. For those of you who aren't familiar, we interview top voices in e commerce, social commerce around a variety of topics. And my name's Sohan. I'm one of the co hosts here. I'm the head of go to market at Reacher, but have a background on being a TikTok shop operator and being on the product side. For those of you who aren't aware of what Reacher is or what we do, we've enabled over 500 million in sales volume through our automation software, which helps you find the best creators for your brand, nurture those relationships, and then gamify with contest rewards. And then we do cool things like integrate directly into Discord to just supercharge your creator communities. And today, we've got a super special treat. I've got Kaylee here, absolutely crushes it as a TikTok shop affiliate and is our first creator on the podcast here. So I'd love to hand it over to you for a quick intro before we dive in.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name's Kaylee. I've been doing TikTok Shop affiliate since March of 2024, and now it's my full-time gig. And I've even done some coaching for other affiliates in Social Army and been all over social media as someone that used to hate it. So it's kind of a crazy journey. And thank you for having me. This is really cool.
Of course, excited to have you on. And for those of you who aren't aware, Social Army's one of our partners. It's essentially a creator community of top quality affiliate talent where they teach other affiliates how to create content well on the creator side, but then brands can work with them on various retainer opportunities and activations. So if you haven't checked them out, would highly recommend go and booking a call, getting some retainers, getting some top quality talent there. I guess Kaylee, I'm very curious about your background. I mean, before we hopped on, you said you were a dietitian, you're getting a house now. Like, there's a lot
Yeah,
going on, right? I'd love to understand, from someone who used to hate social media and who used to
right.
be dietitian, like, how'd you even get started as being an
Yeah,
affiliate?
my background was all in like the fitness world. So I got my CPT, my certified personal trainer certification in college, and then I also have a degree in nutrition. Then I became a dietitian. So I had a healthcare degree, and I was working at a hospital in Colorado, and I made a video about this on my teaching page recently. But I was like, as soon as I was in this hospital, I was like, I'm not really helping people. I was passionate about nutrition, but I was like, healthcare wasn't the way to do it. And I think if you have worked in the American healthcare system, you know exactly what I'm saying. Well, then my husband got a job out here in the middle. We live in like farmlands. And I had to leave my hospital job behind. So I ran a business doing online nutrition and fitness consulting, which I liked a lot more because it was outside of insurance and outside of healthcare. So I had a lot, I think, better impact and in my from my perspective. But to be honest, running my own business, I wore all the hats. I was so young. It was my first time, and I just got completely overwhelmed. And I had no boundaries with work. So I ended up like literally just shutting it all down, completely burnt out. And I went from like what I thought was going to be the most money I would ever make all the way back down to zero, like crying on my couch, like dug myself into debt because I didn't want to check my books. Like it was a literal fall from grace. It was so rough. And I remember there was like a couple weeks in 2023 where I was just like crying and checking the job boards and be like, what the fuck am I going to do with my life now?
And
And my husband was like, why don't you like work at the coffee shop in town and just like kind of, I think he was like, get out of bed, like get out
totally.
there. And I was like, I think that'd be good for me. So I went and I worked at this local coffee shop, like finally getting out of my house for like the first time in way too long. I was very like isolated out here working online and not really knowing anybody. So I kind of built my confidence back up and met everyone in town and kind of like got my head screwed on straight again. And it was then that I was like, okay, I'm back. I'm like stable. I need to make money now because I dug myself into $25,000 of debt. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I was like, well, I can't really go back to my job because there was no openings for it, like super small town. And I was like, let me look at Etsy. Like maybe I can do something in e-com, even though I knew nothing, literally not even anything, an iota of it. And that's when I saw Bryce, another TikTok shop affiliate, on TikTok live talking about how much he made in February of 2024. This was March of 2024. And I had the amount of followers that I needed to do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. And maybe all I get out of it is like a couple free products and I never make a dollar, but whatever. I'm broke anyway. I might as well try.
Yeah.
And I signed up for Social Army the day that it opened. It's like a course, like you were saying. and I ended up taking off.
Wow.
And then I was like, you know what? I might as well just ride this train until the wheels fall off. And here we are, like a year and a half later, and the wheels haven't fallen off yet. So
Yeah, that's super. That's a crazy backstory with like tons of ups and downs, but so glad you were able to bounce back and jump in. I think it's crazy that you joined Social Army like when it started. I feel like now it's just such a name
it's
in the
so like
space.
what they have in there now is 80 times what I had then. And yes, the game is a bit more difficult now, but that's just comes
Totally.
with, the market maturing and stuff. So I'm like, I just like, I want someone to teach me. I don't care. And maybe I'm gonna get scammed by this guy. And it ended up working out really well. So I bet my last $27 and I turned it into 100,000 times that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to like kind of hear about what it felt like joining that Social Army course at the beginning. Sorry, and then figuring out how to become a TikTok Shop affiliate, right? And you're saying it was a lot
Yeah.
easier back then. Like, what did it look like back then? What did this course
Right.
like teach you exactly?
Yeah, so this course taught me everything from like zero. Now, I will say, and I always give this briefing to other people. There's being a good TikTok shop affiliate, and then there's being a content creator. If you've never created content and gone through those hurdles, you're going to have a higher mountain to climb than somebody who's already created content, somebody that already knows how to edit, how to film, lighting, audio, like basics of content creation. So I had already done what I would call like basics of content creation because when I was online consulting, I got all of my clients through social media. So I at least knew how to acquire a customer through social media. I didn't do it on TikTok. I did it on Instagram, and I never earned a dollar directly from a social media platform, but I got my customers through there. So I knew at least something. And I think I got through my awkward phase, being awkward in front of the camera, not knowing how to do any of that stuff, right? So when I joined Social Army, it was like, I know how to make content, but I don't know how to make content that sells, like shop content or affiliate marketing content, because I'd never done that. And that's really what they taught me. And I remember I was like, this is the content that sells? Like, really? Like, I was very surprised because I was like, well, I'm going to tell everyone like my expertise, and then they'll all like trust my authority, and like that's how I'm going to sell. Nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares. So
Interesting.
I learned a lot through that course of just understanding what like viral shop formats would look like. And again, that was back then. They've had to update it continuously because it changes so rapidly. But also connecting with other people that were already selling online. Especially other women, because I connected with Bryce, but we have kind of like different personalities and different styles. So I was like, okay, what's the style that's going to work for me? Meeting other women that were selling in the space at the time was super beneficial for me to see, look at their pages, understand how they pick their products, how they show their products, blah, blah, blah. Because again, I could make a piece of content, but I didn't know how to make a piece of content that sold. So I learned a lot through there. And then I also think it's like a good place for anyone to go and ask questions because there's no really good way to do that on TikTok. It's not like a Facebook group where you can post something, hey, please somebody get back to me, somebody that you can trust, right? There's not a lot of that really within TikTok, but at least especially not back then. So it's nice to have one of these like Discord communities. There's multiple courses there. It's like, how do I do this and that? I didn't even know how to link, the product. I was like, how do I do like the very basic stuff?
Totally.
So I learned all that through there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it sounds like you already had a content background doing social media marketing to drive to your nutrition business, right? I guess
Yes.
let's maybe just start there. I think there's a lot of people who want to become TikTok shop affiliates or who are starting out who are just everyday people who don't create content, right? Like people might
Right.
buy their followers and things like that, right? And get on there. Do you have any tips for people who are getting over the anxiety of like being on camera or getting started or overthinking their themes and
Yeah.
what to even create content on, right? There's like so many things that people are thinking about. Maybe they've never edited a video before and they're trying CapCut. Like
Right.
where would we start?
Yeah, I think that's a great point because 2021 and 2022 is really when I started consistently posting on socials. And it's very overwhelming because it's a blank slate. You really don't have any direction at all. And that can be like for me, that can be defeating. I need like boundaries and some sort of rules and plan in order to really excel. And when you're doing it on your own, you don't have anyone to really give that to you. You can always kind of like chat it through with like ChatGPT or like another chatbot to at least give you some parameters so you can do some productive brainstorming and not just like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. Like I would sit down and be like, I should plan my next 100 posts. That's way too much. Like you got to put
Mhm.
some boundaries on it. So what I would recommend now, having like the skill of social media under my belt for like 5 years, is going like doing some swiping every single day, like swiping through probably like 100 posts, saving anything that catches your eye, and then studying it like you're a scientist, like breaking it down,
Mhm.
understanding why it caught your eye verbally, visually, emotionally, because that will teach you a lot about what you need to post in order to do the same. I would get really caught up in having perfect, like, and we're talking about Instagram 2022, perfect
Sure.
Instagrammable posts. I would do all this. I'm trying not to curse. I'm sorry. I'm so bad with my cursing.
You
I would
can
do all
curse. This is a
this. Okay.
non-PC podcast. You can say
I
whatever
know.
you want.
I'm not used to it because, I don't work in like a professional environment anymore. So I just say whatever. But
It's
I would do all this
e-commerce.
stuff on
Everyone
Canva.
curses. Yeah.
I would do all this stuff on Canva, make these beautiful graphics. But at the end of the day, I wasn't actually talking to anybody. I would use audios, I would use edits, I would use CapCut templates, I would use Canva templates. But I wasn't
Sure.
actually really talking to anybody because I was avoiding that. That's the hard part. That's I have to know what I'm going to say and come across genuine and maybe even vulnerable. That's what
Yeah.
people usually want to see on social media, especially if they're going to hand you over their dollar. So I
Yeah.
think that is much more of a content style, especially these days, that performs well. Vulnerability, emotional storytelling, genuine education, edutainment, like educating entertainment. I think those styles work really well, but you should swipe on whatever platform you're trying to be successful on, 100 a day, figure out what hooks pulled you in, what topics pulled you in, to really understand I'm talking about like the basics of content creation before we ever even
Totally.
get to shop. Because it's genuinely two different levels. And I think if you're starting from zero, if you approached it like that, it would be a lot easier rather than trying to be like, I've never posted a thing on social media before to, I want to make a $1,000 post or I want to make 5 grand from this post.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's funny that you say like you should start with like scrolling because it seems so obvious. But I talk to like a ton of e-commerce account managers and TikTok shop directors, and they don't scroll TikTok on their free time at all, and it sort of
Right.
baffles me because they're giving strategic recommendations on content. They're telling you which creators to reach out to based off of these performance metrics, but it's like you're not actually looking and studying like what's trending with your own eyes. Like there's so many qualitative aspects to content that you miss by just looking at numbers, looking in the affiliate center
Right.
only on your brand's videos. I mean, let's say
That's why
you're,
people can be more successful with it off the bat because they've already been in that world. Like
yeah,
if you and I were to look at 10 different TikToks and not know what the view count of them are, we could probably rank them pretty accurately based on what we know about TikTok rather than if you put those 10 same posts in front of my mom that doesn't spend any time on the app. It's because we've been, I don't really want to kind of call it in the trenches, but just like getting your feet in there and like understanding what does TikTok like and what style goes viral on TikTok. Again, any person of any age can do this, but if you didn't grow up with it, you're going to have to put in more effort.
totally. And all these e-commerce directors with 20 years of performance marketing experience, I have a little bit of bias where it's just like, have you scrolled TikTok enough to like really advise me on my next TikTok to create? I don't know if you feel that way too, but like that's how I feel. And I mean, I'm curious, right? You're saying that people should scroll like 100 TikToks a day. Can you give me an example on like, let's say you're scrolling TikTok, you're scrolling through your 100 videos, like how would you go about like taking a video and dissecting it like a scientist? And what are you
Right.
typically looking at when you see those videos?
Right. So the more, again, I'm coming from a journey of being a consumer to being a creator, right?
Totally.
As soon as you make that jump into marketing, where I had never been in marketing before, you really start to look at everything differently, analytically, rather than just experiencing it. Like it's if you're watching a Netflix show for entertainment rather than I'm trying to make a successful Netflix show. You're going to look at it
Yeah.
completely differently and try to understand why they made the choices that they did. So I think people that are good with pattern recognition will do good with TikTok and TikTok Shop. So that's kind of what I'm saying when I'm saying like dissect it like a scientist. Use AI tools as your friend to help you break them down into formats because once you get into the affiliate game or any TikTok game, you'll understand that each video basically has a hook, a body, and then a call to action. There's also different types of hooks. There are different styles of videos. Like now with TikTok Shop, we see skits going viral, we see product demos going viral, um, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Those are the types of things that you'll start to learn. So again, I think you really will learn that through scrolling and through just kind of pasting the script and then looking at the visuals separately and being like, what pulled me in? So you can start to recognize those patterns. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. And for the viewers who don't know, like top of funnel is usually more awareness focus. Middle of funnel is like consideration, where you're starting to relate that, maybe more specifically talking to one person. And then bottom of funnel is really like asking for the sale or being more like sales forward in your content. So I love the incorporation of AI. Obviously, as an AI guy, that warms my heart. What kinds of like
Right.
are you using like ChatGPT or like Gemini? Like what sort of prompts are you using to like dissect those
Right.
videos? Like I'm curious how you go into that.
That's a great question. I just use ChatGPT because that's what I'm the most familiar with. I don't even necessarily think it's even the best one to use, because it can be quite corporate or like cheesy. I
Totally.
guess all of them can be to a certain extent. But I have used it a lot in my affiliate journey, not like completely, because I'm not saying the job can be completely done with ChatGPT. But if you can learn to kind of prompt it in a way to make it a bit more human, you can really start to understand it. Like for example, I was doing a video in the summer of a like freezable neck tube. So it's like a
Okay.
little thing with gel, you put it in the freezer. Sold a ton of those this summer. And I used ChatGPT a lot of the time to kind of get past writer's block of what should be my hook or give me 5 different hook ideas. So the way that
Totally.
I prompt it is like symptom first and emotion first rather than like scientific, right? So like if I'm promoting to you headphones, if I
Sure.
talk about like the decibels, nobody cares about that. And like it's not something that's relatable. But if I talk to you about something that's like something first, a lot of the top videos that sell these headphones are like blocking out the world because the noise canceling is so good. So I
Mm.
prompted ChatGPT like to give me 5 like symptom first or emotional first hooks for this product. And I tested it against myself and I was like, the hook that I thought of in my head was finally he doesn't get dizzy while mowing the lawn anymore or like working in the yard. And that was one of the hooks that it also generated for me. And I was like, yes, yes, I'm getting it. I'm figuring it out.
Interesting.
Like that's what really helped me because I could be like, I could say something obvious like, oh, this really helps to keep his neck cool. It doesn't work. It doesn't work the same way.
Yeah.
So you really have to, and this is where it comes to marketing. I highly recommend that if you're trying to do TikTok shop affiliate, you start to read marketing books, you start to listen to marketing podcasts online because you have to think in those shoes in order to connect with the customer like that. You can shoot in the dark, absolutely. It's just going to take you a lot longer to figure out where you need to be.
Interesting. Yeah, because I loved your incorporation of
Is like
top.
hook generation. I also do some scripting, but it's not as good. So I will usually just help it to break down viral script formats and then give me an idea of a new product I'm trying to promote. And then I will write from there because it doesn't really hit the mark.
Interesting. Yeah, because it almost sounds like you're reading marketing books, you're watching TikTok videos, you're taking the patterns from like both of those, and then you're using prompts to create various variations of like different ways to approach products. Am I like understanding that correctly?
Yes, absolutely. And I think once you get further into the game, one of the most important things is just looking at the top TikTok shop videos every single week and truly understanding why they did well. Like if you can understand
Interesting.
why, if I could put the video in front of you and you can explain to me like in a minute why this went viral and why it did so well, then you really have a good understanding of it. So again, pattern recognition, doing your studying, looking at that stuff every day like it's your weekly news.
Interesting. Totally makes sense. And like, where do you find these like top performing videos? Are you using like a daily virals, or are you kind of scrolling on some TikTok tool like Calidator or Fastmoss and then using the ranking? Like, what does that look like to find those videos?
Right. I used to not pay for any of the apps, but then I would really realize like sometimes I'd say to people, just scroll your own TikTok feed, but they're so curated. I'm like, wow, I would never get any of these on my FYP, especially just like even picking up my husband's phone compared to mine, completely different. So I
Mm,
was like, I probably should use a data research tool. A new one just came out called SoCo that I really, really like because it's kind of like daily virals and a couple of other tools combined. and it has tap links, which are higher commission links that you can use on your videos to basically get a raise. So SoCo is what I use now. It's very easy. It's very simple. And you can also sort the top videos by what's popped off in the last 30 days, 7 days, or even 24 hours, which the more mature the market's becoming, the more important it is to consider speed. So I do use SoCo for that. You can also copy the scripts from there. You can go stalk the creators. Like I say stalk, but that's probably another really important skill to have as a TikTok shop affiliate is just knowing who these top creators are, following them
Totally.
and watching their content to really figure out what patterns you want to replicate in your own content. And then product selection as well. So SoCo is what I use now. It just kind of covers everything, and I'm all about simplicity. So
Interesting. So, I mean, it almost sounds like social listening for brands, where it's like you'd follow your top competitors, you'd follow the top people in the space, and you'd see what they're doing. You have the ability to sort of do that social listening, and then you have the ranking and number from daily virals, and then you have some sort of breakdown of the script. When you're saying you copy the script, is that script for that video summarized, or is it like a raw transcript? Like, what does that
it's a raw
look like?
transcript. I think like it definitely depends on what style of product you're promoting. But for example, like one of my good friends, she's a killer with skincare. Like she can sell any skincare to anybody. It's absolutely impressive. So I will use tools like that to obviously copy the transcript of the video like onto a Word doc or something and really study her and understand why it went viral so that I can use those same formats with my own videos. Probably not a one for one, but doing something similar, you know? And I
Got it.
think that the more you get into TikTok shop, you really realize that there's styles of videos. Cause when I was first starting out, I'm like, what's the perfect TikTok shop video? Like it's all
Yeah.
aiming towards one. And that's really not true. There's like we mentioned earlier, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, those will all be different. And then also different styles of videos and also different categories of products. Something that will sell skincare, something that will sell $1 million of revenue of skincare will never work for an outdoor tool or something like that, you know? So it's completely different customers. And that's why it's so important to really do the studying. I will say, like, the further you get into the game, it takes a lot of work to really successfully sell different categories because they're so different. Like what will sell fashion won't even sell skincare. What will sell makeup won't sell skin. Like even when you get that close and niche, it's still quite different. So it does take a lot of work and a lot of studying if you really want to make it big. But all of that, I mean, it's a skill benefit to you as a creator.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And like as a dietitian, are you more focused on selling food and beverage? Is that sort of your niche, or are
I
you
started
kind of
off with
going?
that, right? Because I'm
Okay,
like,
got it.
that's what I can talk about all day long. One of my best selling products, I don't think it's right next to me, but one of my best selling products from the very beginning is the roasted edamame packs from the Only Bean. I could talk about those things all day long because I truly love them. I could write a bunch of different ways that it would benefit people. And that's why my video did well, is because I think with TikTok, it's like this isn't just a solution. You can't just market it as a solution. This isn't just a good pair of headphones. You have to market why this is the best pair of headphones for this specific problem that people are having, right? Or the same thing with like a skincare item like this. It's like, oh, this is a great moisturizer. It can't be a, it has to be the one. You have to be so intentional and specific in order for it to really pop off, especially on TikTok organically. So that's how I sold those. I sold a lot of the Only Bean, Breeze, the Lion's Mane tonic drinks, sold a lot of
Yeah,
those. But eventually I moved into other categories because it's a really difficult profit margin with food and beverage, especially on TikTok shop with the shipping, the product cost, and then affiliate commissions on top of that. They don't have a ton of room to probably spend a lot on ads and have really good commission, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up moving into other categories and also just because I wanted to try other stuff.
yeah, totally makes sense. I mean, I'm interested to like hear more about how you crush it on the Only Bean, right? Just to use that as an example here. So
Right.
workflow is you're scrolling a bunch of TikTok videos. Are you like looking for edamame focused TikTok videos, or are there
Right, right, right.
snappable content? Like what like how do you get started on like finding those 100 videos for inspiration where you're scrolling for that?
Right. So no, I would not narrow it down to the specific product. I would go in the same category. So like for example, if I was going to make a video on those today, I would look at like what are the top 10 like food and beverage TikToks that have performed well, either, and it doesn't have to just be shop. It could be shop or organic, like non-shop content. I think that's also a good thing to look at. You don't have to just look at shop videos because you can learn a lot from just organic TikTok videos. So like one that's coming to mind is like there's a girl that sells the crap out of the Be Amazing vegan proteins. I could like think of her TikToks right now. And it starts off with like a really beautiful bowl. It's like a full recipe all put together. She teaches you how to make it. And like the key ingredient is that protein. So I would probably do something more like that. I've also sold it in a more nutrition focused way where I compared it to protein bars and like I was talking about like protein ratio and calories and like if you're trying to get fit and all that stuff. So those are like two example angles that I would take based on one of those ideas. The one I just mentioned was based on another person's TikTok that was just a regular organic TikTok video. And then the other was like a TikTok shop video that did really well. So just looking out for those viral formats, those viral videos in your category that are recent. It can't be from a year ago. I mean, you could try that, but I think it's less likely to be successful. And then adapting that to the product you're trying to promote.
Like 30 days recent, 60 days recent? Like how are you defining recent? Like
I would
last week?
say, I would say like probably look within the last 90 days, but preferably within the last 30 to really see what has popped off. Like for example, I've been promoting like Nello for like over a year, and I could try to do the videos that went viral last year, but they won't even do anything now because it's not there's like viewer fatigue, you know?
Interesting. Do you see like a noticeable difference between 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Like what has worked and how it's being like distributed at all? Or
I think that TikTok is an app that works based on trends. So once a trend is over, people will move on to the next thing. I think that's the most important thing to understand. Now, when you're a marketer, you realize you can sell the same thing in a new way just by putting some fancy words around it. Um,
mm,
so I think that's another important thing to realize. It's you have to be creative about it. Um, like for the Nello Super Calm, the main angle that originally sold it last year was like lowering your cortisol and cortisol phase. Cool. Well, this year they just called it lymphatic drainage. That is essentially like scientifically the same thing, at least in like marketing terms, but it catches new eyes because they haven't heard it before. So that's what you have to be aware of. It's like if it's a trend that was popping off last year, you posting about it this year doesn't mean you're going to hit a million views. So paying attention to what trends are doing well right now, even some affiliates they will use current events to kind of pick up virality in their TikTok shop videos. Like right now, Cardi B is doing a lot of collaborations with different skincare brands. Great. If you're trying to promote that skincare brand, it's a great time to talk about the Cardi B collab so that you can piggyback off of the virality. Now, if you did that 6 months from now, it's not gonna hit.
interesting. So are you spending like a lot of time like looking at the news and like looking at like what's trending there? Because like there's a similar thing on LinkedIn where there's a lot of people. I guess you're not as much of a LinkedIn scroller, but for the audience who is on LinkedIn, right? The algorithm will boost things that correspond with LinkedIn news, and so people will do like very like their top of funnel for LinkedIn would be like I'm gonna post about Black Friday for TikTok Shop, like how much sales went about there, right? We're like that picks up a ton of traffic. Even a GTM specialist on our team who's like never really posted got like 20 likes and 15 comments from like a lot of TikTok agency founders and other people because he posted about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, TikTok shop results. And so it sounds like there's a lot of parallels with social media algorithms and aligning with news and trends broadly to just get more eyeballs on it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, and it's not like a hard and fast rule that will always apply, but it is just another thing to consider. So like seasonality is definitely a thing on TikTok Shop. One of my best performing videos right now was posted the first week of November, and it was like 10 gift ideas for blue collar men. And that really did well because it was like timely, it was relevant to the market right now. Now I'm really excited, today being December 10th, of health products for Q1, especially because those are products that I like to promote. So I'm like, I'm thinking about workout machines. I'm thinking about proteins, like hydration powders, like and protein shakes, anything like that that's going to sell well in Q1. So there's seasonality to it as well. I wouldn't say like I'm really looking at, excuse me, looking at news articles. Although people did do that, I would say more in the earlier part of the year, especially when there was like a lot of like political turmoil and stuff, which I don't really use those angles in my shop videos. I will use more of like seasonality angles, unless there's like something really significant. Like for example, I promote this one product for it's like a zeolite, so it's like helps with microplastic detox. And something that happened in the news recently is that they just allowed PFAS, like forever chemicals, to be sprayed on broccoli and potatoes. So I'm like, okay, that's a good thing to talk about that's relevant to this product. That's not always the case with every product, but yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. How do you even like find out about something like that? Is that just
You
because
spend a
you're
lot of time on TikTok, a lot of time. And that's the thing. Like when you talked about the news, I don't even know if that would necessarily benefit me because what are TikTok users paying attention to, right? There's
got it?
definitely a vibe on TikTok. Like, so what do they care about? What are the things that they care about? Well, another thing that's really important for TikTokers is like celebrity drama and like reality TV drama. So that is something that you can use. It's not necessarily news. I guess you could label it that, but that's something that you can use in your TikTok videos as well. One of the best performing videos for Statue Beauty lip liners was when Billie Eilish released her like a makeup tutorial video, and you could tell that she was using a Statue Beauty peel off. It's not a lip liner, lip stain. And then people piggyback off of that. Another one that just popped off recently was a Clinique lipstick, and the video that went really viral. I just saw it on SoCo last week. She mentioned that it was the same lipstick that was used. I can't remember what TV show it was, but it was used in a TV show. So again, taking that clout, that virality from something trending today and using it in your TikTok video can help with your TikTok shop. Not always. Again, we're talking about viral formats. It's just one option
Yeah.
that you can use.
Totally. And it sounds like would you classify that as like a top of funnel like content? Because I know there was like traditionally for TikTok, there's like a you start with
Right.
top of funnel to get more awareness in, and then you kind of layer back in with the middle of funnel or bottom of funnel. Or do you feel like that trending content where you're piggybacking off of that recent event, like that's enough to like really start selling, or do you usually follow it up with like 2 to 3 more videos after the fact?
I would say the you really can't make the content too long. I think something that I was really lost in when I first started TikTok Shop is like, I'm gonna throw every selling point at them in one video so they have no doubt in their mind. When really that meant I was trying to sell to different customers that cared about different things. I was actually losing people in the process. So it's not that was actually a bit more distracting. I would say
Totally.
each video needs to have a specific customer in mind that's buying for a specific reason. Like when I was coaching this woman, she was trying to sell they're like sea moss glow gummies. I'm like, of course, it's always when I'm on a podcast or doing something, I get 15 calls. Um, I was like, you're trying to sell me sea moss as a concept. And if I'm not even open to the idea of sea moss, you're probably unlikely to sell me on sea moss gummies. I think your customer that's really going to buy is someone that wants the benefits of sea moss but hates taking sea moss. So it's a
Mm,
different customer that, and again, that would be more middle funnel than top of funnel. That's just my opinion. But I think if you're making a TikTok shop video, have that one customer in mind and don't try to mix the two formats. So it's like have the selling to people, like if I was doing the Clinique lipstick, I'm selling it based on whatever TV show that made it go viral and it looked really good on that TV show. That's one video. And then if I'm doing it for somebody that really has wanted to purchase Clinique at a discount, except they never go to the department stores anymore, well, now Clinique's available on TikTok shop and they're probably running discounts, just like when Mac joined TikTok Shop. You could get Mac cheaper on TikTok Shop than anywhere else because they were brand new to the platform. So those are two different customers, you know? And I think that idea, that paradigm has really helped me format my TikTok Shop videos.
well, I think that's interesting because it almost sounds like you're saying different products have different customers at different stages, right? Like you're saying a
Yes,
CMOS
the same
gummy.
product will have different customers at different stages too. You see what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So when you're saying, "Oh, would you follow it up with 2 or 3 more videos?" Sure, I would follow it up, but I would pick probably a different angle and test 3 different angles and see which one would hit.
Interesting. So I guess like, but is there a world where like people who don't even know what CMOS is would buy a CMOS gummy, or are you saying they would just buy
Oh yeah,
CMOS
there's
instead
definitely a
because of the
world.
competition? Okay.
It just takes more effort. So like that girl that I mentioned, that's just a killer with skincare. she is like top of funnel queen. And I think something that she said recently that really clicked for me is like, she focuses only on top of funnel. And she literally posted like only 41 TikTok shop posts in the month of November and clocked over $100,000 like in commissions. Absolutely
Mm.
insanity. Um, but something that she says when she's scripting, and she does script now, maybe middle of funnel and bottom of funnel creators, they don't really need to script as much because they're not as, I don't want to say they're not as thought out, but like it doesn't take as much effort. It's not as long of a video. Something that she says when she's scripting is, I will make a hook that swoops everybody in and gets everybody interested to the idea of what she's selling. That is the toppest top of funnel. You know what I'm saying? You could have no idea about Korean skincare, about skincare at all, about any of these products. And she's going to hook you in such a way where you're going to be interested and tune in. So she has the potential to really go mega viral because it's something that anybody swiping could be interested in. Now, you can also sell that same product at the middle of funnel or bottom of funnel perspectives, but those videos typically don't have as much of a potential to go mega viral as a top of funnel video. My best performing video of all time, it's like 40 million views, over 500,000 in sales on a Dr. Malaxin product, was tippity top of funnel, something that anybody swiping on any platform at any time could find interest in.
Interesting. So it almost sounds like there's like a sort of risk to like at what stage of the funnel you create, right? Because like let's say
Exactly.
top of funnel was longer, it takes more to script, right? It's a little bit
Yeah.
harder because you're talking more broadly, you have to do more research on trends and news and things like that, right? Um, but it's the only one where you can get the huge mega viral upside, right? If you're a TikTok shop affiliate who's like thinking about, hey, I'm doing this as like a side hustle and like I only have a certain amount of time in the day. Like,
Right.
what do you think? Like where should creators really prioritize? Like middle of funnel, top of a funnel? Like does that depend on like your
Absolutely start
lifestyle?
with everything because I think that tippity top of funnel is the hardest. I think you really have to have that marketing brain to do that successfully. You have to just be willing to put in the effort and the time for sure. Now, I'm kind of neglecting to say that there are bottom of funnel videos and creators that are killing it on the TikTok shop game right now because they are hacking GMV max in a way that their videos are gonna go viral. I'm neglecting to say that because it's annoying to me and I don't like it. I don't want to call it lazy, but a lot of people,
Are
it's
those like
controversial.
buy one get one free like goalie ones
Yeah,
where you're
there's
seeing with
that.
like
So there's
AI?
like,
Yeah.
and there's different styles of bottom of funnel too. So there's like lying bottom of funnel, computer generated AI bottom of funnel. You don't even have the product in hand. There's genuine bottom of funnel. There's skits bottom of funnel. Like there's tons of that. But often that's what people will start with when they're really trying to make money and they don't have the marketing skill yet because it's easy and you can just mass produce it. So that is another way to make money on TikTok Shop. I don't focus on that because I think if you have any like marketing skill, charisma, personality at all, you might as well try that top of funnel content that can go make a viral. Obviously, it takes more time, it takes more effort, but it depends on the style of content that you want to do. So right now with the whole GMV max playing quite a big role in TikTok, there's many players focusing on that bottom of funnel content and they're making a lot of money. It's not something that I have a huge interest in. I'll do a little bit of it, or I'll do what I call like a little bit higher effort bottom of funnel where the point of the video is the sale, but I might just add some sort of visual interest to it or do something besides like a 7-second video. But again, everybody's different. But I should say that it's not only like, oh yeah, the only videos that go mega viral are top of funnel. I just think that they
Totally.
have a higher potential too.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it's interesting because you're saying like you should do a mix of middle and top of a funnel when you're starting out. But like if everyone's trying to hack GMV max and TikTok's pushing GMV max as like the main, ads type, like why not just like dive all in there? Like is there any incremental benefit to focusing more middle of funnel, top of funnel if you can just make money
I
by
don't, that's a great question. I don't know if I'm really sure about that. I would say the better question might be focus on products that you can promote that you have some sort of special benefit in promoting that other people don't have. So, like for example, one of the top profiles videos of that last like 14 days is this girl that's promoting Halara leggings because she's fit and has an amazing butt. I also know multiple women that have sold the crap out of clothing because they have amazing glutes. It's like, well, yeah,
Mm.
you should promote that. Like you look fantastic. Also on the other end, there's a girl that promotes on TikTok Shop. She has a lot of loose skin because she had a huge weight loss journey. She kills it with clothing because she shows how much of a difference that it makes. So that is a unique marketing angle that other people might not have. I have my husband that does great on camera and makes me a lot of money in skits. So I focus a little bit on that. I can do lots of skits, maybe go out in public or whatever. Like whatever you can promote well. There's also people that have like Lush, Brandon. He has a giant shop, like a garage that he has lots of space, great lighting, so he can really do a lot of good product demos that I would totally suck at because I don't have any of that set up. So I would say focus more on that and then hit it at every angle, top, middle, and bottom of funnel, because you can show that product the best. Maybe you have a big, beautiful kitchen, do kitchen products, or maybe you have gorgeous hardwood floors, do floor cleaning, vacuums, mops, all that type of stuff. I think focusing on your strengths, and it'll also help you keep a little bit more focused, will help you sell more.
Interesting. So you feel like really making sure there's a strong connection to the product with your strengths, something in your life, some sort of connection there to the USPs like that will make you more money in the long run than targeting this like GMV max hacking
I
sort
think
of
it's a
things.
combo. I think it's a combo of
Okay.
those things. So product selection of brands that are running GMV Max, that your videos have a higher potential of getting picked up in the GMV Max ad pool campaigns, and then also videos that you do really well. There's another creator. I'm on TikTok all the time. I know what everybody is doing. There's another creator that sells the shit out of shoes. And the way that she shows them, she literally doesn't even talk. She just sits in her car and I don't know what car she drives, but some really nice car with like an all black leather interior, and just holds it in her hands. But when you look at it, it looks incredibly aesthetic, incredibly luxe. Her nails are done. She has jewelry on. She has rings on. And that's all you're seeing is like this like rotating shoe, and it looks really good. So it's like, yeah, no wonder that did well, because it's a whole freaking vibe. Like you feel
Mm.
as a customer, you're getting the feeling that you want to feel when you put on the shoes, which is aesthetic, luxury, whatever it is. So leaning into that, and then she picked good GMV Max products like Crocs. Crocs is leaning into the GMV Max game. There's probably other shoe brands. I couldn't name them off the back of my hand, or off the top of my head, but she's doing a perfect mixture of those two things.
Interesting. So two follow-up questions. How do you know if a brand is like leaning into GMV Max campaigns, and like how do you get in on those
Right.
brands who are like leaning into that?
Right. I think like just scrolling TikTok and seeing what's coming up as sponsored would be a good way to know. Like Muddy
Mm.
Mat is spending half of their ad budget freaking selling to me because I'm getting it like every 10 scrolls. So I'm like, okay, Muddy Mat is definitely promoting to me. Another one is QVC. I'm getting QVC all the time. And I know that because I'm scrolling. You can use tools like, I think on that Soko app, they also have people's eyes on GMV Max. You can also use just market research through studying top performing creators and seeing what brands that they're focusing on. And then the other way is just by getting more involved with brands. I think a big thing with TikTok Shop that people are underestimating is the value of having a personal relationship with brands. Literally just talking to them. Like one of the top performers that I know on the entire platform, over $10 million in sales, and she started after I did. She just talks to brands. She has like more of a personal relationship with them.
What
So
did she
her
say?
just getting to know what products they want to push, getting them to push her videos by working out a deal with them, getting paid even flat fees to promote their brand specifically, and just by having a working relationship. With TikTok, this is one of the only platforms where I could sell $100,000 of this skincare item and never speak to the brand even one time. Like I don't have to. But if I
Interesting.
want to do this as a career, if I want to have strategy, it would behoove me to contact them and be more involved. And you can get like, I don't really know if you can get preferential treatment or whatever, but for example, like if I promote those edamame snacks, I'm one of their top sellers of all time. I'm going to treat them well and they're going to treat me well. They can specifically choose to push my videos in even in GMV Max. So the more of those genuine connections you have with brands, I think the better your journey will be.
Interesting. I feel like it's like a big it's almost like a big dating game. I feel like everyone's just figuring out like who to spend their time on, like who they want in their program,
Absolutely.
in their community. I mean, what do you like look for when you're thinking about investing your personal time in some of these brands? Are there like I know GMV Max pushing content is like one of it, but I can imagine having a connection with the product would be it. Is there certain personalities that you work better with on their team? Like I'd love to understand,
Right.
if you were to like paint your ideal brand you'd like to work with, who would you work with and why?
That's a great question. I think it actually is a lot more simple than people are thinking. Like I think just having like a one-to-one contact with the brand so you can ask questions and actually know what you guys want me to promote and in what way is super helpful rather than being put into. I know that we all have like these giant discords and stuff, but if you really want to focus, especially on your top GMV generators, just having a one-to-one contact with them so they can easily and quickly get their questions answered. A lot of it is a game of speed. And then also just keep them updated. Like for example, in the summer, I had a top performing video on what is it called? It's called the bug bite thing. And the product sold out because for some reason the brand decided to put every color as a separate TikTok shop listing. So once it was sold out, that video was generating a ton of views and not selling anything. Well, I DM'd the brand probably 7 times and just be like, hey, on your guys' end, you can, if I turn this permission on, you can change the link to a color that is in stock so that this video can keep selling. They never
Mhm.
responded to me. I was like, I guess you don't want to make money because this video is going to die out eventually if it keeps getting views and not converting anything. But they would be in the comments responding to, oh, you can buy it here, you can buy it here. But they're not even responding to my message. So it's very simple. Just respond, you know? And I know that we have a lot of automated messages set up. I'm not going to ask brands to not do automated messaging. I think it's important for them to do that. But just having someone actually there to respond to answer questions, especially about stock or about what do we want you to promote right now. Like Halara will be like, these are the 5 listings we're going to push a ton in ads in the next month. Great. I have 27,000 Halara products. Now I know what to focus on. We're both going to help each other make money.
Interesting. And I mean, I feel like brands are leaning on like the discords and the communities to like push these updates. Like what do you think about that? Like do you think if
I just think it's
they're
good.
in
I think
there
it's
like
a necessary part. Um, I do think that brands will have to have an understanding that I'm in, not exaggerating, 40 of these brand discords that all have announcements, wins, updates, campaigns, sales, flash sales, live. So it's not realistic for me to check all of that all the time. So just having like if you're gonna have a TikTok shop rep, team member, whatever, having someone that just keeps people updated or is able to answer questions, whether it's in the Discord or I just think for your top earners, it's important to have a one-on-one connection, especially if you want to continue that relationship. One of my best friends, she's one of the top sellers for Bucked Up. And sometimes when you're a top seller, they do extravagant things for you. They fly you out, they send you PR, whatever it is. I obviously think that those good relationships are going to be extremely valuable. You can have one creator that generates almost 50% of your total GMV on the platform. So you treat them well, they treat you well. And I think that
interesting.
extra effort, time, whatever it is 100% worth it for brands.
It's interesting because I feel like every brand is trying to start a relationship with these top affiliates, but then it's also like, how do I get enough affiliates and then train them up to be like loyal to me? You know what I mean? I think for those brands that are using Discord or leaning into community management and those creators who are feeling overwhelmed by having too many places to check in on these updates, right? Like, how do you get their attention? Is that the right way to do it? Like, how do you maintain a creator community of like 1,000 creators, for example, right?
It's
If
hard.
like you're in 40.
Really difficult. I would say 3 brands that come to mind that have really like invested in that side of things um, is Nello, Goli, and Snap Supplements. All of those brand communities have, I think, I don't know if Nello does anymore, but they have like weekly lives. So you're learning specifically how to market their product with their top earners. They hire coaches that help mentor the more beginner affiliates. and they have a lot of activity going on in those brand discords. So I think they're like, if as a brand, if you're listening to this and you want to learn a great example, I would follow in their footsteps, and you will get creators that become married to your brand. Like they promote either only your brand or mainly your brand. And the more you promote one brand, the better you get at doing it. So it's like a tit for tat. Like maybe you give them a prize or boosted commission for a month, or you set them up on like Goalie has done lots of prize campaigns, even like sprints for new products and stuff. I think that's a great example of something that you can do to get a creator's buy-in. I think that's the way that I'm going to lean even more so in 2026 is like focusing on fewer brands, because the fewer brands that I promote, the fewer products I promote, the better I can get at promoting them. You know?
Yeah. And then the more the brand wants to invest in you, because I think when a brand is looking at an affiliate who posts like 20 different products last month, it's just like, I don't think you're relevant to the audience that I want to target, is kind of what they're thinking, right? So
Yeah. I mean, the
it's
top
like a two-way
affiliate,
street.
she does a lot of different products, so obviously there's multiple ways to do it.
Hmm.
But I think if you are anywhere like I think if you're a beginner, you should try different things for sure, because you need to figure
Totally.
out what you're good at. But then once you're kind of at maybe a more mid-level or top tier level creator, whatever you want to call it, um, I can only do so much. I can only post so many videos, especially ones that are good and I know are going to convert. So it becomes more about efficiency. And I know that the more I promote one product or one brand, the more familiar I get with it and the better that I can promote it. So I went really viral with a skincare product in August. Well, so now I'm better at promoting kind of like anything in skincare as long as I can learn about it. So the more I'm dedicated to one product, the more I can learn about, the better I can get at promoting it. So that's kind of my way of doing things. It's definitely not the only way, but it's a strategy that I'm really thinking of as like as I mature more in this journey.
Interesting. No, it's so interesting. I feel like there's so much more we could talk about, but I think that's a good note to end it there. Appreciate you hopping on, Kaylee, and looking forward to another episode. And thanks for all the advice you're sharing. I think there's a ton of brands and marketers who just don't even think about what creators are thinking about and putting their POV into the strategy. And it's like, you guys are the most crucial part of the ecosystem. So there needs to be more consideration for what you guys are thinking about and how you're doing things.
Yeah, I definitely think and again, take everything with a grain of salt. I'm sure you can find information that proves the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm just talking about things that I've noticed in my almost 2-year journey and what's helped me succeed. So there's different creators of different kinds, but you can really start to like the more connected, like you're saying, the more connected you get with those creators, learn how the creator mind thinks, they kind of get a better connection with brands, and then we can really work on the same team because we're both working on the same team, trying to make money using TikTok's virality. So I think that's really the game of it all. But yeah, thank you so much. I definitely said a lot, so hopefully it's not too overwhelming for anybody. But I hope that anybody watching this is able to get something out of it.
No, it was great. And thank you so much again.
Awesome.